Is another Savior. This is our freedom time, and we are going to call it our best right. And now I can't stop us. The Friday comes, anywhere we go, that's what the best is on the road for us. Anywhere we go, that's what the best is on the road for us. We never hear, say that problem come. We are the best, we are the best now. We are the best, we are the job, we don't fight. Every day keep on praying to God. It's our freedom time. That's why we keep on moving forward. When you come to this time, I can see the sun is shining, the shining of our Biafra. Really best, I give thanks to God for the best time This is our freedom time, and we are going to call it our best right. And now I can't stop us. The Friday comes, anywhere we go, that's what the best is on the road for us. Anywhere we go, that's what the best is on the road for us. We never hear, say that problem come. We are the best, we are the best now. We are the best, we are good to freedom time. Every day keep on praying to God. It's our freedom time. That's why we keep on moving forward. I feel Biafra the promise, Biafra the promise, yeah. When you come to this time, I can see the sun is shining, shining, shining all over Biafra. Really blessed. I give thanks to God for the blessings of God. Yeah, Eastern Security Network, Okahano Roweha, Ndabi Ebulogo Ejeba. Then they change your branch, Okahano Roweha, Ndabi Ebulogo Ejeba. Manobukini kaida nusi, Ndabi Anonoso, Obukini kaida nu, Ndabi Anonoso, Akwono Una Anonoso. Ndabi Anonoso. Ndabi pika jene. Ndabi pika jene. Ndabi jene. Ebusizi anu ndabi umu wajana chojo ta brother mo. Nebuge kume mo. Anugi na melodi akuko tike na mipeki dobe. Eastern Security disieni ike nalo. Ndene Biafra disieni ike nalo. Ife salo family anyi ewe meru. Anobukini kaina nusi, Ndabi Anonoso. Obukini kaina nusi, Ndabi Anonoso. Obukini kaina kazi fene, Ndabi Anonoso. Onye mana waga kanodu, onye mana waga kanodu, onye mana waga kanodu. Onye duwa wolamu. Obukini kaina nusi, Ndabi Anonoso. Obukini neme nolu, Ndabi Anonoso. Obukini neme nunimo obodo, Ndabi Anonoso. Obukini neme nolu, Ndabi Anonoso. Chukwu kike biamai, amama masi, ay mani nonolu. Isike nolo makie, ike lai. Isike nolo makie, ike lai. Obukini kaina nusi, Ndabi Anonoso. Obukini kaina nusi, Ndabi Anonoso. Kedife neme nolu, Ndabi Anonoso. Obukini kaina kazi, Ndabi Anonoso. is your Hamadike, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. If you never do look if you never do look Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You should we can all over here. You see can all over here. You see can all over here. You never get your man. It was easier to tell you for it, and I told you so, brother Mo. If one of you never looked your full country, can I even need your bed? I can book one who okay. Samuel Manaka, all that you know, Napa, when you borrow more. Oh, would you book it up here, man? We'll cook like a little kind of job, brother Mo. Thank you, up to your brother, somewhere. Onye bịara ikumo nke nọbụ na nwa bịara ikwe nwa na n'ụlọ ọ bụ gịnị ka ọ ga-emesi n'ọgụgụ ọ bịara ije nwụnọ anyị akwado ka nwoke si akwado anyị ejike ịchọ n'iche anyị akpọ n'iche inwe ịhụnanya n'ọdịda anyị akwado ka nwoke si akwado anyị ejike ịchọ n'iche anyị akpọ n'iche inwe ịhụnanya n'ọdịda onye nna maka masị na Ipob kwadola kwado Ipob gbatakata abụọ anụ mmiri onye ụsa ị na-agwa Ipob aka n'ezuzu gị nara abụ ụzọ bụ nara n'ime onye kacha ntị ụkwụ ụzọ Ipob were ọ maka ndị sabotuas na kwa na ọsọ na-eme a na-agwa ochite na agha ezu ọkwara onye eji ogbugbo nwụrụ udo Iso sekwete leto waka patago na fulani no sono ndi sabotu no sono ndo haneze no sono ndi gwegwano na nebuno kukanye malifanye nemenuno umusakone tukutele manu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu amadike Gavaniru na nyepoge na suwa Ayakwado kamoke se akwado Anye chike Ito nicha nyako nichelu Kiwe funanya nodele Ayakwado kamoke se akwado Anye chike Ito nicha nyako nichelu Kiwe funanya nodele Onye na maka masina Na Ipob kwadola kwado All calling angels now Listen to Ipob waiting up again make way. But how put us in the Tuesday was Ipob which is living in how welcome to support us. Can you send with the phone? One I won't like you all over the world, they're not getting kindness. Offense is one. They're not like a friend of iPhone. Before the meeting, Hamadika Waga Ebagan or Echepon. I go on Facebook and Twitter. Never going to see again. I will get ever there for more. Biafra media warriors, which is grown. It is in the Facebook. Keep going. Ipob as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu as well. Simon ever went to a man again a mavuna. Came like I Peters na radio Biafra. Or to pay chapter or lying. Came like a sister Omote Biafra. Where is it book? It's not here. A book I'm going to you get Guru. The man that chose the battle, he did a very announcement. I had on a Facebook to require the life. You were for Nanya Putin. Isto go no strapo no Biafra Kanu na panabago. Ese bono na kuchizilino. Ngo meniba, ngo papa ngo meniba, ngo meniba, ngo tanu meniba, ngo meniba, ngo tinibu meniba, ngo meniba, ngo amechi meniba, ngo meniba, changu korota meniba, ngo ya meniba, ngo meniba, ngo meniba, anu tokalo meniba, ngo ya meniba, ngo boko haram meniba, ngo meniba, ngo madrid. And then we know that what we talk is with majority. If God be with us, who can be against us? Onye chukwu dị masịrị azụ enweghị atụ ya onye chukwu okike gwụrụ azụ enweghị atụ ya Mazi Nnamdi Kanu chukwu abịa ma gwụrụ azụ indigenous people of Biafra chukwu abịa masịrị azụ I can hear the Lord saying, do not be afraid of your enemies. The Boko Haram you see today, you shall see them no more. Hausa Fulani jihadists, you shall see them no more. Says the Lord Almighty, I am with you. We must get to the promised land. The promised land is called Biafra, the land of rising sun. Obodo Chukwu gọziri agọzi, obodo Chukwu chọrọ mma, obodo Chukwu mere eze. Anyị tigbuo Hausa dị n'amarụ Chukwu, tigbuo ha nsogbu ha too na. Anyị tigbuo Hausa dị n'amarụ Chukwu, tigbuo ha nsogbu ha too na. Onye nyere anyị Nnamdi Kanu, Joshua of our time. Nnamdi wetie mkpụrụ ọkụ. N'ịchụkwu ọbịa maka ịga Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu chukwu gọzie. Nnamdi Kanu chukwu gọzie yo. Nnamdi Kanu chukwu gọzie yo. Onye amụma nke anyị yo. Ụwa zuru ike. Sọgbuo ya n'ikpe. Rocha sokoro chawo. Sọgbuo ya n'ikpe. Nnọkọ mesan. Sọgbuo ya n'ikpe. Ihe human rights. Sọgbuo ya n'ikpe. Sọgbuo ekwesịrị okwu n'elu ụwa. Ekwu ya o debe o. N'aha Jizọs Biafra ga-abịara anyị. N'aha Chukwu abịa. Onye ọbụla si na Biafra ga-abịa. Ewo nwanne m. Sọgbuo ya n'ikpe. Ọya keje. Nsogbu Buhari, nsogbu Sanusi, nsogbu Tinubu, nsogbu Hamechi, nsogbu Rocha, nsogbu Mazi Kanu, nsogbu British, nsogbu Fulani, nsogbu Wazobike, nsogbu Peluga. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers fighting for freedom, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are fighting for our motherland by the grace of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers fighting for our rights in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. Can you not do one go and here? We have one more on every show go. Onye ọcha bịara bịa n'etie anya ukwu n'okolu with you. Heroes fight like Biafran soldiers. See ya bụ onye ọcha bụ we are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are not our motherland, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. The land of the belongs to our fathers, in the name of Biafra, we shall take it across. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers from the riders from in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. We are soldiers of Biafra, in the name of Biafra, we shall conquer. When we come, my we are fearless and stay. We are soldiers. We shall conquer. Iwe ne wanyo na yi soro no Biafra. Iwe ne wanyo iwe ne uno na yi soro no Biafra. Oh Biafra, iwe ne uno iwe ne wanyo na yi soro budayo. Anambra State, iwe ne uno Enugu State, iwe ne Biafra is my home. Ebeka unusi Biafra, Ebeka unusi Biafra, Gaimara for Biafra, Gawe Posogami, Gaimara for Biafra, Gawe Posogami. Biafra is my home. In this platform, we are calling all the indigenous of the world living in this world to come back home. Let us defend and build our motherland. They learn of the rising sun and stop developing other people's land while our land has been taken by our enemies. For Biafra land is the kingdom of God on earth, and we must fight with the last drop of our blood to restore this great nation, the land of the rising sun. All hail Biafra! All hail the indigenous people of Biafra! All hail the land of the rising sun! Biafra must be restored. Biafra must live. And Biafra must survive. By the name of Chukwu Biafra. Ebeka unusi Biafra. Ebeka unusi Biafra. Gaimara for Biafra. Gawe Posogabiri. Gaimara for Biafra. Gawe Posogabiri. Biafra is my home. They say the river cannot flow through the forest without bringing down the trees. My dear people of Biafra, for many years we have been holding our arms, hoping that Biafra will come in a platter of big and honey called dialogue. What did we get in return? They killed our brothers, they raped our women, they beheaded our children, they bombed our churches where we go to worship to Biafra. No. Enough is enough. We can't take this anymore. We must fight to defend our land. The Biafra we love. For he who wants peace must be ready for war. Ebeka unusi Biafra. Ebeka unusi Biafra. Gaimara for Biafra. Gawe Posogabiri. Gaimara for Biafra. Gawe Posogabiri. Biafra is my home. My people of Biafra, I'm laughing at you. Are we not ashamed of worship less in a foreign land just to make a living? Are we not tired of marrying our mother's pets just to have kinship in a foreign land? Are we not tired of running from police and immigration, jumping condominium, rotting in jail? Ebeka unusi Biafra. Ebeka unusi Biafra. Gaimara for Biafra. Gawe Posogabiri. Gaimara for Biafra. Gawe Posogabiri. Biafra is my home. Kobidoro, Nala Biafra Kobidoro, Namo Kobidoro, Nala Biafra Kobidoro, Namo Kobidoro, Nala Biafra Kobidoro. You don't know me today. I say you don't know me today. Oh, what I can go around and I'm gonna catch you away back home. You need to know about you. You need to be doing about you. Be a friend like the Amazon. Be a friend like the Amazon. Nabu, could be now love your friend, corridor, and you will report, yes, and you will sing, yes, and you will report, yes, and you will restore, yes, and you will reveal, yes, and you will receive it, yes. Now love your friend, corridor, hey. Corridor, now love your friend, corridor, we came direct from God. We are the Lord's chosen people. We the Biafra people. And you will need to hold as you are busy. There is nothing God cannot do. There is nothing super German cannot do. It's always go anywhere they are. We are born engineers. We have medical doctors. We have medical practitioners. Biafra land is a safe land. Napo, Kobidoro, Nala Biafra, Kobidoro. Napo, Kobidoro, Nala Biafra, Kobidoro. Napo, Kobidoro, Nala Biafra, Kobidoro. I'm an engineer, I'm a lawyer, the light of the rising sun. Beautiful land. The kingdom of God of air. Biafra land. Oh. Development started from a play. The light of the rising sun. The land filled with milk and honey. Biafra land all about. Zobo black and black, in the bridge, Zobo Naira, Roger, Zobo Naira, Zobo green white green, Zobo Nigeria, Zobo is good, one day, Zobo Sheba Gamjeva, Zobo Batanjo, See them, they're watching us, we hear them, as the calling goes, miscount, jobless, terrorists, scammers, it's our name, we are the miscount, we are jobless, and we are terrorists, and we are scammers, we must scam you, before you scam us, old fools, empty brains, old fools, sold your souls, but you can change, proudly, with the full needs, we must get you down. Honest in your sheep. Honest no forgiveness. No forgiveness. We must get you down. By saboteurs. Do your worst, come do your worst. The governors, you stood us out. Evil kings, hungry fools, slave kings, shameless fools, brought evil men to Biafra land, a holy land, a blessed land, to kill us all. Then you obey, I build Biafra rising. Honest in your sheep. Honest, this year, I said this year, I said freedom for me, for you. Wake up, stand up, be do, be good. Our keys in our hands, we open, we enter. This year, those of you knows, the kings, his blood, fighting us, killing us, in our Lord, people. Honest in your sheep. Honest, by the time we finish, Nigeria will no longer exist. That name, we went goodbye to it. The same way Yugoslavia is gone, that Soviet Union is gone, that same way will the word Nigeria be obliterated from history books. People are stupid and foolish. Nigeria is a reminder that colonial mentality actually seeped into our bone marrows. As somebody reminded us this morning, when somebody from Nigeria pays and say, "Oh, God bless Nigeria," you are making a mockery of God. God can only bless something that is created. I learned that this morning. God did not create the zoo. Therefore, there is no way God can bless it. It's impossible. Impossible. That hopeless entity that people today say they are very proud to belong to was created by a white man. His name is Frederick Lugard. This man is not from Biafra land. This man is not Hausa Fulani. This man is not Yoruba. But there are some people from Black Africa who are willing to go to war to defend what a white man created out of their own subjugation. Who did not create it? A white man did. You asked the white man to go, the white man left and went back. But you retained every vestige of subjugation left. So can read and write, claiming they are PhD holders, but lack rudimentary, or what I would call common sense. They don't understand how to structure a society. Our forefathers, we are better political thinkers and philosophers more than the fools that gave us the zoo called Nigeria. They couldn't have come up with everybody in case you can go quiet. Never in their lives. Instead, what they did was to surround themselves with the military and the police. Instead, what they did is to ensure the subjugation of their own people by bringing money abroad and banking it abroad. And people are wallowing in abject poverty. There are many things wrong with the way that a black person reasons that sometimes I wonder if some of them are human beings at all or not. I wonder seriously. I don't think so.
IPOB, one family. IPOB, one family. One family. IPOB. This song is specially dedicated to all the Biafrans all over the world. Ambo, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Ambo Nobolo, Ambo get in this year number no local government. Get in Imo State. In Biafra land. Now baby gua. That you go one in and I want to me and the mobile man. One I want to reach me for me. You know me and the mobile man. One I want to I never so when I come home. Yo, when do I say sign I never see more. What's a betrayer? That you don't carry on no more Biafra. I want to know to be. No chill, Nanya. I can wait at Biafra. I know so. I'm making the point here. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Mazi onye nke Chineke họpụtara ka o weturu anyị n'ala nke Biafra. Dịka Moses si weturu ụmụ Israel wee bufe ha n'osimiri uhie. Otu a ka nwanne anyị nwoke a ga-esi weturukwa anyị duru anyị n'ala nke e kwere anyị na nkwa nke ala Biafra. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu jisi ike n'ọrụ. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu ihe na-emebi anyị mma. Arụmanya Chineke na onye kwado ogologo ndụ na-arụ isi ike na amamihe ka ị ga-eji weturu anyị n'ala nke e kwere anyị na nkwa. Onye nwere nke na-echere ka echiche ọjọọ, onye ahụ ga-eji isi ya wee buru ya. Ka anyị were n'otu obi, anyị ga-enweta ihe anyị na-achọ. ụmụ Biafra biko anyị jikọta udo ga-achị. Ụmụ Biafra biko tienụ udo ga-achị. Ọkwa nwa famili ka anyị ji aga udo ga-achị. Akwa otu obi ka anyị ji aga udo ga-achị. Ụmụ Biafra biko anyị jikọta udo ga-achị. Uche mefọ Sleeping DJ obodo dịka m gbara gị ọkwa iwu n'otu isi wee wuo onwe gị n'ala, ọkwa iwu n'otu isi wee wụkasị onwe gị n'ala to the extent that everywhere all over the world ọwa akụkọ gị ka a na-akọzi ebe ọ bụla ị hụrụ mmadụ abụọ ma ọ atọ nọ ọwa akụkọ Uche mefọ ka a na-akọzi otu o si wee wuo onwe ya n'ala, otu o si wee disgrace onwe ya, otu o si wee betray ya ndị Biafra. Ọgbọdọ ọmụrụ trust Mazi Nnamdi Kanu nwere ebe ị nọ isi ụta wee wuo onwe gị n'ala, jiri ụta wee disappoint ndị niile na-eso gị n'azụ. Uche mefọ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu trust chara gị to the extent ọ sị na ọ bụrụ na ịbụ nwaanyị ọ karịrị ịlụ gị oge arụ nwaanyị. Uche mefọ onye mere gị ya ọ gaghị adịrị ya na mma. Ịbazie live gị na-akọ ihe sọrọ gị na-akọ ụdị ihe sọrọ gị na live iche na Mazi Nnamdi Kanu ga-atụpụrụ gị ọnụ, ị na-achọ ka ọ bịa saa gị okwu ọ karịgo that level. Silence is the best answer to the fool. You are just making fool of yourself. Uche mefọ ị ma na ọ bụrụ gị ga-etinyere na prison wee kwe gị nkwa niile nke e kwere Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Uche mefọ ị ga-anara ego chi na abalị na-asọ Biafra. Nke a tụrụ n'anya na ị ga-anara ego dị na-asọ Biafra. Bọtụlee Mazi Nnamdi Kanu etinyere ya n'ụlọ mkpọrọ wee kwe ya nkwa niile nke e kwere ya, o nweghị ịgwa anya ekweghị ya ka o wee dị na-asọ Biafra. Ma Mazi Nnamdi Kanu fụrụ isi wee kwụsị ike na Biafra si na o nweghị ike ịdị na-asụ Biafra. O kwekwere ya bifọ ya bara ime na o nweghị ike ịdị na-asụ Biafra, na o nweghị ike ibitere Biafra, bọtụ na ndị Biafra ga-ebitere ya. Ihe ahụ o kwuru ka o chere na mmezu. This betrayal bidoro from 2015 oge a kpọchiri Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This betrayal bidoro from mmezu and Ipob iru anya and Uche. Ọ kwago nwa disepụ Uche mefọ onye fightere against it. But lee na leta ihe na-eme onwe gị, ị were aka gị wee betray sie that same person na fight gbapọ Charles Uche mefọ. Kedu ihe mere gị ha? Ihe otu isi wee wuo onwe gị n'ala, ihe otu isi wee mebisi aha gị. This nonsense human rights is like a baby. Can you know human rights? What do you know about human rights? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is already fighting for human rights. He lost his father and his mother in fighting for human rights. So, Uche mefọ, you are just a betrayer. If you are to resign now because everyone knows people. The killings in all people dead, everybody unaware. All them about it. Uche mefọ, what we need is actions. What your Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? The Eastern Security Network offer more single-handedly, and this is not even our army. This is just Eastern Security Network. Our army will soon surface by the special grace of Biafra. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said it. Forward never, backward never. Together we move. Together we achieve this Biafra. Every sons and daughters of Biafra, please, I want us to give Mazi Nnamdi Kanu our maximum support. We must surely get to the promised land. He said, ụmụ Biafra biko ka anyị jikọta udo ga-achị. Ụmụ Biafra biko si n'ụlọ jikọta udo ga-achị. Ọkwa famili ka anyị ji aga udo ga-achị. Ọkwa otu obi ka anyị ji aga udo ga-achị. Ụmụ Biafra biko ka anyị jikọta udo ga-achị. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, jisike n'ọrụ ọma gị anyị so gị n'azụ. Jisike n'ọlụọma gị anyị ga-enwe mmeri. Jisike n'ọlụọma gị ihe ga-adị mma. Ụmụ Biafra biko ka anyị jikọta udo ga-achị. Ụmụ Biafra biko tienụ jikọta udo ga-achị. Ọkpọwa famili ka anyị ji aga jikọta udo ga-achị. Ọkpọ otu obi ka anyị ji aga jikọta udo ga-achị. Ụmụ Biafra biko ka anyị jikọta udo ga-achị. Udo ga-achị n'anyị. Ipob, one family. Ipob, one family. One family. Ipob. Ana m ayọkwa Chukwu okike abịa ma onye ndị Ipob ogologo ndụ na-arụ isi ike na amamihe nke ha ga-eji wee rụọ ọrụ a wee ruo ya n'isi. Anyị ma na ọrụ adịghị isi mana onye ọbụla nke ya na Chukwu okike abịa ma so ụjọ agaghị atụ ya. Chukwu okike abịa ma ọma dịka ihe pụrụ gị na-eme. Jisike n'ọrụ ọma gị anyị so gị n'azụ. Jisike n'ọrụ ọma gị anyị ga-enwe mmeri. Jisike n'ọrụ ọma gị ihe ga-adị mma. Ana m ekelekwa all the coordinators all over the world. Ana m ayọkwa Chukwu okike abịa ma ka onye ọnụ ogologo ndụ na-arụ isi ike nke unu ga-eji wee rụọ ọrụ a wee rụrụ ụgwọ ya n'isi. Jisie na ike na ihe ọbụla unu na-eme. Were n'otu obi na ihe ọbụla unu na-eme. Ma bụrụ na ya n'obi dasa onye ọrụ nwere ụgwọ. No matter what, ka anyị wezụga na ihe ọbụla ga-ebute nkewa n'etiti anyị. Maka anyị werekwa n'otu obi wee sọpọtụ nwanne anyị nwoke ahụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu ọhamadike. One thing is sure, at the end, we all shall rejoice. Sure. Ụmụ Biafra biko ka anyị jikọta udo ga-achị. Ụmụ Biafra biko tienụ jikọta udo ga-achị. Ọkpọwa famili ka anyị ji aga udo ga-achị. Ọkpọ otu obi ka anyị ji aga udo ga-achị. Ụmụ Biafra biko ka anyị jikọta udo ga-achị. Udo ga-achị n'anyị. Anyị were sienụ ya ofu obi ụmụnne. Anyị were ofu obi anyị ga-enweta ihe anyị na-achọ ụmụnne m. Anyị sọpọtụ nwanne anyị. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, jisike n'ọrụ ọma gị anyị so gị n'azụ. Jisike n'ọrụ ọma gị anyị ga-enwe mmeri. Jisike n'ọrụ ọma gị ihe ga-adị mma. Jisike n'ọrụ ọma gị Biafra ga-enwerịrị isi. Ka anyị were ofu obi nwanne m. Let us take one mind. We shall get to the promised land, my brothers and sisters. Ụmụ Igbo, Izon, Ogoni, Ejo, Elfik, Ibibio, Aram, Orani, Igodo, Kogi, Idoma, Benua, Igala, Igede. Please let us join hands together. We are the Biafrans. Let us support the Moses of our own time. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, ọhamadike ndị Biafra. I strongly believe that with one mind, love, and work, we shall get to the promised land by the special grace of Chukwu okike abịa ma. Ụmụ Biafra biko Can you dig out? Udogati. Omo Biafra biko senu. Udogati. Opa wa family can you dig out? Udogati. Opa chobi can you dig out? Udogati. Omo Biafra biko. Can you dig out? Udogati. Nwachukwu okike Biama, ọmadike, ihe kwuru gị na-eme. Jisike n'ụlọ ọma gị, anyị so gị n'azụ. Jisike n'ụlọ ọma gị, anyị ga-enwe mmeri. Jisike n'ụlọ ọma gị, ihe ga-adị mma. Nwachukwu okike Biama, mmiri adịrịrị m. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, ihe adịrịrị m. Ihe adịrịrị m. Ihe adịghị echi, maka echi adịghị afọ abụọ. Ihe adịrịrị m. Onye nwere gị nwere mmadụ. Onye ji gị ji mmadụ aga. Onye nwere gị chọta gị atụ ya. Onye ji gị ji mmadụ.
Or establish that not less than that we're able to trace 419 names. So you can now see that we are correct after all. So a few days ago, we did a review because in social science investigation or research, it is allowed. It says,
sorry, can I interject here? 419 names of
the abductees, the people abducted from Ubibo. 419 names as we speak have been traced. And out of these 419 names, 208 have been freed. You understand? Remaining 211. But I just got information now, that 30 of the 53 Ubibo women among them, young women among them, have just been freed. That is information I got about a minute ago. And the effort has still been made to free, I think that should be 33 others because they were 53 in number located. A review, and we reviewed this thing upwards, and they placed it within the confines of 550.
Nobody knew that they were holding some people. Although I understand that those abductees must have been transferred to them belatedly by the Nigerian army. So they brought out 22 fresh names, fresh persons, and arraigned them, and they were granted bail. Now, again, the DSS, I think on Monday this week, brought out the 53 women because, before now we have exposed the DSS and accused them of holding 53 young Obibo women, who were abducted from Obibo. So just like this week, exposed the DSS and accused them of holding 53 young Obibo women, who were abducted from Obibo. So just like this week, Monday, they brought them out and arraigned them. They brought them out shackled and arraigned them in court, and they were granted bail. Then on the process again, if you are discovered 26 other names that nobody is aware of that are still being detained or held by DSS, making the total I think 26 plus 53 is how many? Is 79, if I'm not mistaken. And among those 79, 53 are women, 26 are men. So that is the situation. I see that is not enough. Another discovery was made in faraway Suleja stroke Bida Aziz in Niger State of the captivity of 100 and the fresh names, totaling 110. Those ones are still there. They were abducted.
And these are related to Obibo.
Obibo. All these people are Obibo abductees. We got, it's a too high wired information, contacts and what have you. For instance, in that, the latest, the one I'm telling you now, we got to know of it through one guy who is 23 years who went missing on 28th October, Timo River. So the guy happens to be a conductor. So the family gave us information, located inter-society and gave inter-society information. Elvis Ngozi Chibo is the name. And they told us how the guy went missing, how the guy was abducted. He was abducted alongside others while they were heading to Port Harcourt in a commercial vehicle where he was serving as a conductor. So from there to 144 Battalion Asa, from there to Gori Camping, that is 6th Division in Port Harcourt, from there no more. He disappeared alongside others. And the family took the courage and they went to the extent of contacting an army officer who helped them, assisted them. And lately the army officer informed them that, of course, he's an army officer of northern extraction. So he was there. He was one of those guiding them when they were brought to 6th Division. So he told them that he has succeeded in locating the guy to an army base. That's how he put it. To an army base located between Kuje and the Niger. Kuje and Niger State. That's how he put it. So, and then I relayed information to Barrister and then others who are assisting, and behold, it was discovered that the same guy we are talking about, alongside 109 others, are presently held captive in an army base, that is Nigerian Army Commando base, located between Suleja and the Bida in Niger State. And of course, I'm sure you know that Niger State has the largest landmass in Nigeria. The landmass of Niger State is a kind of almost roughly 3 times that of the entire Southeast put together. 3 times the landmass of Southeast. So you can imagine that is where 110 of our people, of our defenseless residents of Obibo, have been held captive for more than 4 months. So that is the summary of the situation.
Now, to make sense out of the narration that you've given, in essence, we have a space where something happened in Rivers State, and these people were arrested in Rivers. No crime, no. Like you said, that conductor, they were on their way somewhere in a van, and he got abducted, taken to Niger State. When in Niger State, they were kept in army detention, not even the police, right? They were kept in army detention. Okay.
Abducted by army, and held captive by army.
Okay. And were there, were there documentations, were there efforts, were those people allowed to contact their families?
That is exactly the point. When we use the word, any reasonable and well-grounded human rights crusader or activists must first of all have legal knowledge of the situation on the ground. When we say abduction, it now boils down to the question you just asked. Abduction by who? By Nigerian Army. Under the existing laws of the country, Nigerian Army lacks power to arrest, detain, investigate, and prosecute citizens or civilians who are not subject to the Armed Forces Act of 2004. The Federal High Court recently gave a validation to that effect in a landmark ruling that took place sometime in last month in February. So that's the word. And another aspect of it is that we have just captured it. Thank you very much for that, your wonderful observation. You cannot, when you abduct, when you said you are arresting somebody, and let me use the word, or not conceding to that fact, let me use the word arrest, in quote. You arrest somebody, you excommunicate the person for his family, you do not, you fail to allow the person access to his family, to his physicians, to his lawyers, to anything that has to do with his family and the beloved ones. you did not, put the arrest, the arrest in quote, to public knowledge. Nowhere was that a so-called arrest reported or recorded officially or through a public statement or through official record of Nigerian Army. So, and again, you move the persons you arrested in the dead of the night. You transfer them to you start moving them from one military barrack to another. For instance, when they were abducted, they were first taken to 6th Division at night. From there, they moved them to Obinze the same night. The next day, they saw themselves at Obibo in Owerri. Then they kept them there. In the night again, they start moving them with the same vehicle they were brought to Obinze. The next morning, they saw themselves at Mogadishu barracks in Abuja, and so on and so forth. So you find out that that kind of thing cannot be validly called arrest, even if it was conducted by the Nigerian Police Force or DSS, not to talk of when it was perpetrated by Nigerian Army. That is the position of the law.
Well, I mean, listening to the things you just said, and I keep asking myself that, since this incident, because Obibo, obviously this incident happened, or rather started October 2020. Since Inter-Society, which you are the board chairman, got involved in this, have you been able to extract any more information directly from the police or the Nigerian Army?
Well, the information we have is that there is no need of wasting your time extracting information from an securitization agency of the government that is not directly responsible for the incident or the atrocity conduct under complaint. We did a very thorough investigation of the unknown people. The computation of that report is still ongoing by Inter-Society. By the way, the Obibo we are talking about, what happened at Obibo wasn't restricted to Obibo. It can properly be described as mob action, and it was widespread across the country. Now, coming to your question, there is no all effort to get the army speak failed woefully. But the only thing is that you must know that facts are sacred. If a professor is expert in speaking grammar, you can only slap and quieten that professor with statistics and facts. So also the agencies of government. But since we have been able to do our thorough independent investigation, irrefutable and irrebuttable, the Nigerian Army has run away from speaking on that particular issue. And by the way, it may interest you to know that all the abductions that took place in Obibo were perpetrated by Nigerian Army. The Nigerian Army solely abducted those people and solely took them to where they are presently being detained, and that is the situation. And our information was also collaborated by interviews conducted from the received from some of the freed victims. For instance, we didn't know that women, the women up to 50 were among those that were abducted. We didn't know. It was in the course of our interview with two young ladies that were freed in January, that they told us that in that female guard room at Mogadishu Barrack, they saw another set of Obibo women numbering over 50. That's how they put it. And so on and so forth, even the cause of raping them, that all of them were in the same guard room and what have you. So it was from that information that we now put and spread our tentacles and behold through the
May I interject at this point? Let me stay with the women you've mentioned, about 53 of them. You just quickly said here that the information you had was that these women were abducted from Obibo, and they were raped. Did I hear you say that?
I think we should have allowed me to land in. I know.
Okay, please go ahead. I mean,
so you can just note it down. So when I must have landed, you can come back with the question, no problem. So as I was saying, so those two ladies were interviewed, and they told us shockingly that, look, Oga, we are not the only female there. In fact, in the course of finding ourselves in the female Gadru at Mogadishu barracks, now we came across, we discovered that there were 50 Obibo women that were, detained, abducted and detained with us. That's this thing. We said, is that so? They said, yes. So after the interview with the ladies, we now spread our tentacles. And behold, the names were allocated to, by the time we intervened, because those women were freed in January, the two ladies were freed in January, and we interviewed them in February, on February 8th. So from that February 8th, we got information, that type of shocking information from them. We now decided to make more inquiries. And in the course of inquiries, we discovered that true, that those women have been in the captive of Nigerian security forces, and presently they are being detained by the DSS. And when we did further investigation, we found out that they were detained severally by the army before being handed over to the DSS. And we, of course, we swung into action and got their names. And we released a statement accusing the DSS of holding 53 young Obibo women. And up to today, some media guys went to DSS spokesman, that half one or something, Peter somebody, Dr. Peter somebody. And I said the guy declined. He didn't make any comment on that. Do you understand? So, and as we speak now, my brother Tochukwu, I can confirm to you authoritatively that not only that those women were arraigned on Monday by the same DSS, and they were granted bail leniently, but also as we speak. In fact, your medium is the first to break this news. As we speak, not less than 5 minutes ago, 30 of them have been freed, and efforts are still being made to get the remaining 23 out, alongside 26 other, sorry, those 26 have not been, the 26 other males among them have not, their bails have not been processed. But I think he's talking about the other 22 from the other side, brought out by police. So, my brother, that is the situation on the ground. That is what we have found. And the facts are sacred, like I said. Facts do not lie. So, that is the situation.
So basically, if I say that I'm not dumbfounded, I must be lying. That would be an understatement. Now, these women were kept there as probably, quote unquote, sex slave for over 4 months.
Well, we can now come back to your earlier question. Very inquisitive and curious. So what happened was, in the course of interviewing the young ladies, one is 22 years, one is 23 years. Those young ladies told us, it's very shocking. They told us what happened. They were serially raped. And they also confirmed that in the course of their captivity in the Nigerian army at Mogadishu barracks, they were there with 50 something, more than 50 other women. And it was not only 2 of them that were raped. That what the soldiers normally do, I don't know how to put it, was, they come today, they say, you, come here. They pick them, that is random selection. They take them out to their dungeon, to their rape confine within the barrack, and they rape them serially. Then after that, they bring them back. Well, the next day, they come back, and so on and so forth. To the extent that one of these two women who was a virgin, when she was struggling with them, 23 years, I think she's the one that is 22 years, when she was struggling with them, she made them to know that she is a virgin. And little do she know that she had just announced, giving the beastly soldiers the delicious food they were looking for, and they mercilessly raped this girl to the extent of inflicting injuries or bruises on her laps and what have you. So it was along that, and to the extent that the ladies also told us that one of them was raped. She fainted and she died. And they gave the name of that lady as Victoria. And they said they did not know the whereabouts of her remains or corpse. So it was from here, from this point, I got to know that the other ladies among those 53 women also were made rape victims. But not to worry, more revelations are going to come out. But we are just talking about those that we have interviewed and have them on record and on camera.
And this, from your listen, I am the words you've just said. Kind of, as a father, I know how it feels for this.
It's shocking. It's shocking. It is shocking.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless to note that those we pay tax to earn for the protection of the collective, quote unquote, will be in a position to do this to innocent people. I mean, it's unbelievable. But this is the work you do, Emeka. The question that I would then ask you is there any way you think that this, or rather justice, could be, there could be justice for the people that were abused? I mean, I'm not talking about the ones that have been illegally detained for 4 months. Obviously, no crime is less, but it's for the abuse victims. Do you think there is any support?
Well, the two ladies already, their names already ringing bell in certain sensitive portals all across the world. So this is a very shocking situation. And I'm aware that those who are being freed are likely to be taken to certain sensitive portals by, in coming days or something like that for those responsible to see, to see what has happened to them. So, of course, there must be justice. And this is more so when crime is not statute bar. Crime does not have a expiring date. But I think when something happens like this, in criminology and law, processes are bound. When something happens, for instance, I did not even remember to tell you that soldiers also acted as armed robbers in the course of abducting all the victims. Do you know that among those women, of course, you have a mother, you have a wife, you have relatives that are females. You know how women think and run. Do you know that those 53 women, now 55, including 50, I think 57 now, because among those 22 persons that police belatedly arraigned on Friday last week, among them were 2 women, and they are yet to be freed because of the efforts to fulfill their bail condition. So one thing I didn't let you know is that there was soldiers, like our dear soldiers of the Nigerian army, also became armed robbers in the course of abducting them, because all their belongings, the phone, the sanitary pads inside the bag, you don't go to the bag of a woman, that, but inside the bag of a woman, I'm sad, but I'm just laughing anyway. So you know, a lot of things. From what we asked them, from this side, the two women we interviewed, what happened? How about your bags and what have they said? Everything. Everything. If they bought new underwears, all of them disappeared. ATM
okay, but hold on. You know, now you are talking about this. Now, these women were abducted. Obviously, they were not charged. They didn't go. It wasn't arrested. It wasn't an arrest by the police. That meant it's an illegal arrest, meaning they had no prison cloth, meaning they kept the same cloth that they wore, and apparently and invariably the same underwear that they wore at the point of arrest. They just, I mean,
that is exactly the point we are making. You abducted somebody. You took away all his or her belongings. If the person abducted was a woman, you took away her bag. And inside her bag, both ATM card, the national ID card, money. If the lady was a sales girl, you took away money that cash sum that were realized from daily sales, and so on and so forth. Her sanitary parts, her bra, if she, you know, decided to have space and what have you. The cash, the everything, ATM, phone, SIM card, no, the credit, the data, this, that, and what have you. All those things were taken away from them. And we were made subjected to wear, like you said, one set of underwears for a period of 4 months. Nothing. Their families were not away. Nobody was allowed to access them, and so on and so forth. Only God knows. So the soldiers acted as armed robbers, because do you know why we say that? We have been able to release 208 of them, excluding the 30 that have just been announced, freed. We have been able to release 208 of them.
So on the screen here, you will have some of them in court. You know, were these among these people that we can see?
Yeah. No, yeah. So these are the 63 people that were released before this one, before the ongoing process. Do you understand? Okay. So look at these guys now. Those guys you see there, all those clothes you see them wearing were bought newly. All the sandals or what have you see them wearing were bought newly. Every
the bedroom slippers and
they cannot wear one bedroom slippers for 4 months. So maybe because of the cost and so that's the thing. Everything they wear there was got. Do you know that at a point, in the course of releasing freeing about 7 of them, you know, abandoned at a DSS abandoned facility back in January. The DSS refused, insisted that they must be cleaned up before they can release them. So that made the good Samaritans to bring in the new clothes, which they wore, and things like that before they were allowed to be, before they were freed. So, my submission is that the soldiers of Nigerian army became armed robbers too. They also robbed them, because all the people that were freed, none of them recovered a dime. None of them recovered a single item that he or she was with during the time of his or her abduction. None of them. None of those items have been cited today. And there is also danger. For instance, there is most likelihood that their bank account must have been tampered by way of fraudulent withdrawal. Do you understand? These are the things we're talking about. So a lot of things, of course, you know that in crime, somebody can go for a break and burglary, and along the line commit another set of offense like armed robbery, like stealing, and so on and so forth, like aggravated assault, like property damage. Whereas originally he was accused of burglary. So that is exactly So there is a litany of crimes, and those crimes are heinous. Well, that is the situation. It's not the issue of saying people were abducted and held for 4 months. What is the position of the law, position of the constitution with respect to all these things, vis-a-vis those who abducted them and the provision of the law? It's also another aspect of what we are talking about, because we cannot pretend to be, if we hold this program and get me a participate in this program, and in the end there is no citation of what the law says, then it will look as if that Nigeria is a jungle. Nigeria is a lawless society where anybody can do anything and get away with it.
So thank you very much. So through your effort and the effort of Inter-Society, over 500 of these young men and women been discovered. Now, we are only talking about the ones that are lucky to be alive. If my memory serves me right, I recall that you once made a publication as to the ones that weren't so lucky to be alive. Can you walk us through that? You
know what happened in the whole thing? The whole thing started, the discovery started in Niger State, where the lawyer doggedly and powerfully discovered that these guys were abducted and taken to Niger State, where they were detained in 4 secret military or army dungeons located in Jeba, Zungeli, Katangola, and one other city in Niger State. So when 52 of them that were discovered were freed through judicial process by High Court of Niger State, by Magistrate Court of Niger State, and by Federal High Court of Niger State, then we interviewed some of them, and we found out that about 3 of them died in custody. I think including one Iwagu and Anyang, and one other that whose first name was already given. There are people who died because those people know them too well, and they say they died in military custody in the course of their detention in Niger State. So that is the thing, and then the investigation, like I said, is still ongoing. So in the course of further investigation, we are going to find out whether some people were also, other people who, if any, were tortured to death in the course of being held captive in the military, in Nigerian army dungeons, secret dungeons located in different parts of northern Nigeria. So that is the situation. So you are in order. We have that record.
Okay, thank you very much. So, and again, those confessional statements by those that were abused, the ladies that were abused, you said you have those statements also in audio and in video as well, right?
No, of course, the audio, is a sensitive issue. So it's not the same way you record them. Confessional statement of those who are, held captive for 4 months. Is the same way you are going to record this one. So you must have to understand the fact that these are women, young women who have future and all that, and use the best application, the safest method of getting them talk. And that's exactly what we have done.
Okay, that's marvelous, and it will help in the prosecution, I believe, of these case later. Now, before I get the public who have joined us here to chip in with one or two questions, I would want to know, what is your view and what role do you think that the governor of Rivers State played in all this? Because obviously you started by saying that when we had the NSAS was a nationwide issue. So from your engagement with what has happened in Obibo, question therefrom is, what happened in Rivers State that made it a different kettle of fish?
Well, the governor in question, who says he's a lawyer, is complicit. is inescapably complicit. And you know, most of our researches and investigations and publications are guided by law. And to that effect, the law has a provision to assess some of these things. For instance, the governor is vicariously liable. He's vicariously liable. He made a declaration, he imposed coffee, he gave a criminological theory that was later found to be half-baked or untruth. He said he had intelligence that those who killed. So meanwhile, the same governor didn't see anything wrong in killing of civilians. Dozens of civilians were killed at that particular point in time. But the governor was too particular about the safety of uniformed personnel and all that, that is police and army. So the governor said he had intelligence that those people who killed soldiers and policemen, for either soldiers or policemen or the other, were members of IPOB or IPOB terrorists, as he put it. He said he had intelligence. Now, on account of the so-called intelligence, he imposed coffee and he invited the army. So you look at it from the legal point of view, the governor misfired, he goofed unpardonably. His behavior was unlawful. He did not act as a lawyer. Because as a lawyer and as a Democrat, what he should have done is that the same intelligence that revealed, disclosed to you that those people who were responsible for the killing of soldiers and policemen are particular members of a particular group. The same intelligence would have also led the governor to fish out, use, through the process of deployment of the detectives and intelligence agents to go after those people. Because if intelligence reporters told you who committed what, this an intelligence report would have, it should tell you where the person that committed what can be found. That's the logic. That's the law. So, but trying to, I think the governor went out of the way. The governor politicized, reason best known to him. He politicized the whole thing. He turned what was clearly mob action. In international terminology, what happened in Nigeria is called violent protest. Violent protest. Instigated by state agents. The protest didn't start violently, but it started peacefully, and state agents instigated it. For instance, the Lekki massacre. For instance, the sponsorship of hoodlums on religious ground, who went after those who didn't support the protest. Those who supported the protest and their allies, and started attacking them and destroying their property to the extent of killing dozens of them across the country. Then the peak of it was the Lekki massacre. It was at this particular point in time, the protest, people got angry and they became violent. And the violence spread across the country. And it was not restricted to Obibo. And that is why it can best be described as mob action or a fallout of a violent protest. And the governor hijacked it and used it to play politics to the extent of inciting the security agencies against the innocent and defenseless Obibo people, and to the extent of inviting army, the army that has secularity question that has remained unanswered today. And that's exactly what happened. So the governor is culpable. Is inescapably culpable. Likewise, the GOC of 6th Division and other principal officers of the division, and those we are compiling their names. And of course, the immediate past chief of army staff. So that is the thing, because when Nigerians thought that, when they told Nigerians that they were moving into Obibo on professional army operation or military operation, we didn't know that they were going to Obibo to execute an ethnic agenda, because the gravity of atrocities, the level of atrocities that happened in that Obibo, I mean, there is no better way to describe it than execution of ethnic agenda and ethnic cleansing, originating from what we call racial profiling, ethnic profiling. That's exactly what happened at Obibo. So that's the thing.
But
so
Obibo,
Wike is accuracy culpable. It's inescapable culpable.
Yes, I do appreciate. I do appreciate that fact, but in trying to drive the narrative of ethnic profiling, now I am made to understand that in Obibo you have Igbos, Ikweres, Eches, and many more other ethnic nationalities there.
It depends on the historical background, the historical facts you have, and I'm sure you are aware that. Am I still communicating?
Yes, we're here, but it appears your camera has gone off. But go ahead.
Okay, so what you are talking about is dependent on the historical facts. The Kwele, the Che, the this, the that, the Anioma, the Esnif, the Nbise, the what have you. All these people are fundamental component of Igbo Federation, Igbo ethnic nationality. I'm telling you as a researcher. So those people, you are talking about meaning. They are not even micro nationalistic components. They are components of Igbo Federation. Obibo is a densely Igbo populated area of River State. So if you are talking about a part of it.
Oh, okay. Sadly here, I think the connection to my good friend Emeka is gone off. And we will be reconnecting back to him and we'll see how that goes. While we wait, many of you, if you want to speak while I want to get Emeka back on, Marcel, I can see, you are in the house. Can we quickly have some, yourself and Mazi Nnamdi maybe, if we can quickly have one or two of your submissions before the main guest joins us back again. So,
okay, thank you so much, Mazi Nnamdi. I'm as shocked as anyone that's hearing this. I mean, at a point, I just closed my eyes and it was like, tears wants to drop off my eyes, and I was like, I mean, this is really happening in a country and all of us feel normal. Mogadishu barracks that was mentioned is just few miles away from Aso Rock, seat of power. I mean, for those of you that knows Abuja very well, Mogadishu barrack is just at the back of Aso Rock. So it beats my imagination. I mean, I've been to these barracks. I have friends there, so I normally go there for the fish market. And that was the same barracks that was bombed the very first time when the Boko Haram issue started. Now, the fish market used to be outside the barracks when it was bombed, and then after that incident, they moved it into the barracks. So it's a place I go regularly. So to think that the place I go to meet my friends and to hang out with my friends for fish and drink is the same place where over 50 of Nigerian women, young ladies, 23 virgins, could be held captive and then raped consistently for 4 months. It's crazy. I mean, I don't just want to imagine it. Even in a war situation, if Nigeria is fighting war with another country, there's rules of engagement. In a war situation, they are what they call prisoners of war. When you even have people that you caught in the act as a real fierce battle, and you arrest them, international regulations has situations that you have to treat prisoners of war. Now, this is not a war situation. This is a national army to its citizens. Again, we need to put this to perspective, because when people keep saying Obibo residents, I don't want to call them Obibo residents. I call them Nigerians. And that is the narration that has to go out, because some people will feel very, very unconcerned. 50 women moved from a particular location overnight to another location in the capital city. It looks as if most atrocities that's actually happening in Nigeria is actually happening behind the president's backyard, and nothing is happening. We know what happened during the NSAS protests, where people came out on the street of Abuja with weapons and government SUV vehicles unmarked and started ordering thugs around. So it looks as if most of the atrocities happening in Nigeria actually happens just behind the presidential system. One of the questions I might want to ask when it comes back is that those one that was known.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I think Emeka, welcome back.
We lost momentum.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That's fine. Can you go ahead with your presentation that you?
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it me or him?
No, you, because you're being
Okay.
the speaker now.
Okay. So I was saying, I was making reference to law. I say section 35(4) is very clear. Section 35(4) talks about the duration within which a citizen of Federal Republic of Nigeria, validly or invalidly accused of committing the highest crime in the land, can be held before being taken to court for purpose of investigation. And it's very clear. And this particular section is in gross breach under the in the instant case. Then if you also look at section 36(4)(5) of the same constitution, within in the one that talks about right to fair hearing. So you also find out that it was also in gross breach in the present, in the case, in the instant case. So there is no, and again, you look at the, let me use the word in quote, arresting authority. How does the law, do they have a position in the law? The people, the agency of government that perpetrated that act, was illegal? Is it allowed to do that? My answer is that it has no, the Nigerian army has no question, it has no basis. The Nigerian army acted abominably and atrociously. It has no constitutional backing. It has no legal backing. Like I said, army is disempowered to arrest, detain, investigate, prosecute civilians or citizens that are not subject to the Armed Forces Act of 2004. That is to say, army was created to manage its own business. That is why you now see you have this court-martial thing. Army cannot court-martial civilians. Army can only court-martial members of Nigerian armed forces, bound or guided by the Armed Forces Act of 2004. So everything that the army did, that is why when we started exposing them, what they did was to start transferring those people, transfer those people, those in their captivity hurriedly to DSS and other facilities, just to escape. But then it was already too late. As we speak now, the Nigerian army is still holding 110 of our innocent and defenseless brothers in far away Niger State, in Bida, for over 4 months. They are still there as we speak. So there is no basis. The army, the law says, if for any reason the army arrests, because power of arrest is exercised by everybody, including you, Tochukwu, or and others who are listening to us. But the law says when you arrest and you are not competent to detain or investigate, or try to hand over. So how can Nigerian army abduct citizens, hold them in captivity for over 4 months without handing them over? They can't even send them to court because they lack power of prosecution. They can't prosecute. You see? So it's
so in essence,
the law is very clear. When law is written in black and white, it goes beyond argumentation and sentiments. So you can, as we speak now, Google the Constitution. You have it. You are ICT expert. You have expertise in ICT. Google the 1999 Constitution. Go to section 35, subsection 4, and see it for yourself. Go to section 36, 5, sub 5, and see it for yourself. Go to section 42, freedom from discrimination, and see it there. Go to section 33, right to life, you see there. Dignity of human person, 34, and see it there. Personal liberty, 35, and see it there. And so on and so forth.
Does the Constitution mean anything?
No, but that is the law. No. But if at the end of the day, you take them to court, the judge will be first with looking at the Constitution. That is the grand norm. We are not an anarchical country. We are not a lawless country. The Constitution is there, is the law for now. So, and it is our responsibility, me and you, to point these things out. Never mind that sometimes when people do the analysis, they do them outside the facts and law. You must have to anchor whatever you are submitting within the confines of law and facts. These are the two things.
Okay, thank you very much. So before I let others come in and ask questions, can we quickly, obviously these things has happened. I'm aware that these crimes are very, very serious crimes that should be looked into beyond even the nation called Nigeria. Therefore, the question is, does INSA Society have any plans to approach other international organizations to seek for justice and redress?
Of course, the answer is yes, and but it's not only restricted to INSA Society. You know, one thing with data mining is that when you embark on data mining, and in the end you're able to be successful in such an embarkation, what is required is for the organization to take it to the next level, or another organization or anybody to take it to the next level. What is required is just for you to acknowledge the intellectual rights of the originator of the research work, investigation, and that's all. But right now, what we are trying to do is to look at what is obvious. And what is it that is obvious? Our brothers and our sisters, hundreds of them are still languishing. There are those that we have not discovered, we are yet to discover. Maybe in coming weeks, because of the attacks, because of the exposition and what have you, the authorities of the government, securitization authority of Nigeria, of the government of Nigeria, will be able to arraign more people, or we will be able to discover more names and their locations. And when such discoveries are made, then the needful will be done. So, and when you find, like for instance now, there is nothing you can do for now, primarily, than to get those 110 of our people who are languishing in faraway bidder out and allow them to breathe a fresh air of freedom. Just as same thing with those people, the 26 fresh names that have just been discovered languishing in the DSS, and all those people that have been granted bail, but they are yet to be free. So you have to make effort to make sure that they are freed. And from there, you take it. Like I said, crime is not satisfied. Crime doesn't have a spiraling death. The man who was the president of Chad, look at when he was president, 1990 to what? and today is serving life jail and what have you. So crime has no that, and you are correct also when you mention the issue of international dimension of the atrocity crimes that we are complaining. Yes, of course. Apart from the 1999 Constitution, there are a lot of several international law treaties that are binding on Nigeria, with legal binding effect on Nigeria, which Nigeria voluntarily acceded or made itself a state party. So, and these laws are also being extracted, and a lot of options are being extracted too. So at the appropriate time, international mechanisms of justice shall be fully exploited in this respect. But for now, what we are trying to do, like I said, is to make sure that those who are still unlawful behind bars are freed and allowed to have a fresh air of freedom. Then we take it from there. But like I said, other organizations can as well do. You know, other organization can do. Any other person can take it to the next stage. So that is exactly the point. In fact, we are working towards, concluding the report on Obibo. So when we are done with the report on Obibo, it can now be a valid document which anybody can sign. Good thing inter-society has earned credibility all over the world. So our reports are very much acceptable widely. So that is the situation for now.
Well, thank you very much, for that great insight into what is happening. And on that note, I'll take questions from the audience, and kindly raise your hand if you want to ask or make any comment. If it's a question, please not more than 30 seconds. If it's an input, not more than 2 minutes. Now, I will take Nwachukwu. Please, can you unmute yourself and kindly make your presentation? Nwankwo.
Yeah, Mazi, I greet you. Thank you for the good job you are doing. I'm calling from Iceland.
Go ahead and make your presentation or ask your question to the guest, please. Thank you.
Yeah, my question is this. First of all, I have heard about these issues of kidnap, and I know our leader have made a frantic effort. That is what is making an improvement of their release. So I want to thank you for the good job you are doing. So my question is this: what is the governor? Because this is the people of his state that this thing happened to. What is the position of the governor in respect of these said people? Because Obibo is in River State. So what is his full responsibilities? Because he is the principal person who is in charge of the state, who is accountable to any citizen that is
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So can I take the next person? Kevin will go. Can you quickly ask your question, please, Kevin?
Good day, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, quickly. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Good day, everybody. Good day, Mazi. Thank you for having me. So I think mine is a kind of suggestion, and also to say what I think one thing in Nigeria is the blood. The only thing that is holding Nigeria one up to date is the blood of Igbos. I don't know why they cherish like I've been hearing this thing the whole night. I've been shedding tears. I've been like, wow. So this thing has been happening, and this man called himself a governor. He's been walking around everywhere, smiling, happy. And he knows about all these things. You can't tell me he doesn't know. He's aware of all these things that are happening. So I feel like it is time for everybody, for mostly with Igbos, to know that the only thing that makes Nigeria one today is the blood of the Igbos. And the earlier we realize this, that is nothing new. Even if we go to international, these people, they have more money, they have more connect. Even no news have ever heard about. Even AIT, all of them, they have never carried about this news to show you that they love it when Igbos are being massacred, are being killed. So my thing is, please, let us join hands and see what we can do mostly for our Igbos. Nigeria is not for us. Thank you, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think, Uche Eze, can you please ask your question quickly?
Oh,
Uche Eze.
Okay. I would like to thank my brother Mecca for coming up with this information to us. I have two questions. What are the reasons given to you by the army? And two, has any organization made any contact with you guys? Thank you.
When you say any organization, what do you mean? So what sort of
any? I mean, like human rights organization. That's what I meant.
Inter-society is inter-society.
Yeah, I know. I know. I mean, if other ones had met, for example, international human rights or other ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I mean, Emeka, I think the two questions there. You can take those questions first, then we'll come back again and take a couple of them before we round up. Quickly.
Just remind me if I forget. One question. The first question is talking about asking what the governor of Rivers State has done or is doing. I think the governor of Rivers State is fully aware of what is going on. He's a barrister. He's a governor of one of the high-profile states in Nigeria, and then he was at the center, and he's still at the center of the atrocity crimes. I've explained it at the beginning of this program that he invited the soldiers, and I think when he got the wind of the level of atrocities perpetrated by soldiers, he started showing off. Is it image? What do you call it? Is it, you people call it image laundering or what have you? He started trying to do one or two things to brush aside or to dwarf the atrocity crimes under complaint. For instance, he started by inviting some persons to come and commission this project, that project, and what have you. But during that time that happened, when he got the hint, he started inviting groups after groups, and when they started telling them, look, they said I killed Igbos at Obibo. Nobody was killed. They are lying, this, that, and what have you. I remember Mazi Nnamdi Kanu then going to clap for him without visiting the crime scene. I also remember the Southeast governor visiting him, and so on and so forth. So he's not he is aware of what happened. But the only thing is that like there is no Nigerians are not kind of people that easily say sorry or to show remorse whenever they get involved in this type of atrocities. But that what they instead of showing remorse, they will insist in trying to do everything within their power to suppress or to justify what they have done. So that is exactly the fact with the problem with the weak, and the weak is a kind of arrogant that disturbing him. He never. There is nothing. I don't think there is anything he can do, because doing anything in the contrary will mean him, probating and reprobating. So I think he is doing everything possible to suppress the facts. And what have we got? You can't suppress facts. So that is the situation. That is why we say, come rain, come sunshine, he's involved. He's a complicit, inescapably speaking. The second question is talking about what our organization, whether we have been contacted with respect to this by any other organization. Of course, well, we are not bothered about waiting for anybody to contact us. But I can tell you here that we have received tremendous solidarity as far as this matter is concerned, from people and the groups that are sane and that are humanistic nature. And I don't want to go into the workings of some organizations. Some organizations prefer to inherit a phenomenon exclusively, and then whenever there is this thing, so they don't. So, but I know that a lot of people. Recently, we came up with a coalition, an international coalition, that which Tochukwu's Zoke's group is part of them, and they spoke thunderously and internationally on the same issue. And the thing is ongoing. It's not ending tomorrow. Crime does not end. Does not happen and end. Same day it happened or it was perpetrated. So it's something that requires consistency and what have you. So we're on it, and as weeks or months come and go, people we continue to understand the dimension the matter is taking. It has happened and it has happened, and this is more so when the lawyers and criminologists will always tell you that when a crime is committed and it is not properly documented, investigated and documented, then no crime has been committed, and we have technically set free the perpetrators. But when it is committed and it is properly investigated and documented, then we have then a crime has not only been committed, but the perpetrators have been marked and given a kind of a dent for the rest of their life, because they will never know peace for the rest of their life, because it is already databased. Thank you so much. Am I forgetting any other question, please?
No. I think that those are clearly the two questions. But let me bring in Mazi Obiokul. Ojoli Ibozi, you're welcome here. So can I have your contribution or your question to Emeka?
Chief Ezeoke, thank you so much for this opportunity. Emeka, I greet you with the sincere greetings of peace.
And I'll see you for the first time. Well done.
We have been talking for quite some time. Chief Ezeoke, the honest truth here is that ever since I became a human rights activist from civil liberties organization, the conduct of the Nigerian army has remained consistent without change. And the honest truth is that there has not been so many organizations like Inter-Society who has challenged them to do right in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And secondly, the apathy and the attitude of our people in the eastern part of Nigeria specifically has always been that of disdain, because we do not pay any attention to our citizens. You saw what happened in Ibadan, and about 4 governors went down to Ibadan to discuss when there was a conflict between the Yorubas and the Hausas. But in our own case, you were a witness to what happened with Modo going to River State and our governors. Nobody cared to go to Obibo. I was consistently highlighting this fact that we already judged our people, found them guilty, and left them to die. Now, the rape of these women and the other 109 still left in Bida, it aroused so much pain in our hearts. And when we got in touch with Inter-Society, the question we wanted to ask them first was, how are you guys coping? And do you need help? And we only found out that they did not even have enough money to prosecute these things. And we sent out letters to a lot of Igbo organizations in diaspora. And regrettably, only one of the organizations responded. The rest of them up to today felt it did not concern them. And some of these organizations, painfully, are even run by women who know that virgins from Igbo land, which is what in Igbo society, happened, and Alo Melo. And these things, these women did not show any empathy nor concern even to call into society to ask questions and understand the pain and the whole process of what inter-society is going through to get these women free. And up till as we speak now, the Igbo society is doing nothing. Njenje media can only do what they can do. You're doing your best as a human being. But again, Igbo people need to invest in media, and the Igbo people need to begin to tell their stories. I've heard a lot of our people complain about the Yoruba media, not AIT and the rest. They cannot tell your story. Our stories need to be told by us. Njenje is doing so much for our people, for Nigerians and everybody. You're giving people the platform to air their voices. But in terms of human rights, Nigerian human rights has never improved. Rather, it has deteriorated under this regime. I remember as student union leaders, we were picked in Port Harcourt, and before we knew what was happening, that was in 1987, we ended up in Meduguri prison, and that is the worst prison then that you can be dropped in. They left us there for 3 months, and one morning they just opened the door and said, hey, Malamobi, I won't go. Just go. Nothing. No money, nothing. And we had to go to the Igbo traders in Meduguri. They contributed money and gave to us that we went back to the University of Jos. So this attitude of inhuman treatment of Igbos and a lot of Nigerians has been consistent. It is only now that a lot of organizations as inter-society is beginning to call them into question. And we need to do a lot to bring the European Union, the International Court of Justice, and other human rights citizens and other human rights organizations to the know and understanding of what is really happening in Nigeria. As we speak, Nigeria is going into abyss. There is no law, there is no order anymore. Each day you can see what is happening. So, but in terms of Obibo, I have repeatedly said it, even as we speak, Chief Ezoke, as we speak, send your journalists to Obibo. Obibo is still under siege. You have to drive around. You cannot go anymore from School Road into Obibo. From the express, you have to go around multiple roads before you're able to get into the Obibo main town from the other side of the express road going towards School Road. The other Umuebule side is a little bit free. So they are still under siege. They are still being maltreated. Some of them are still paying bribe to be able to access their properties and their goods in Obibo. So the oppression has not stopped.
Sorry, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to who are they paying this bribe to?
When you, for instance, there was an incident we had, a young man who was shot, was hiding in one of the rooms, and we tried to get him out. We now had to get a police officer from Port Harcourt to drive down there to see how to get this guy out of the place to the hospital. There was a total blockage, and they had to pay people to be able to access School Road in Obibo and even getting up to the main market, the market in Obibo. So the siege is still continuing. It's not like Obibo is now free for you to drive in like you would drive into any other place in Port Harcourt. It's still happening. And I recall speaking to Senator Abaribe, I asked him a question. I said, has the Senate ever tried to find out how many illegal and legal detention centers exist in Nigeria? And his answer was on the contrary. So we don't even know all the secret detention centers that are operating. So we don't even know. All we know is that 109 of them is still in Bida. So we might not even be able to find out all the other ones if they are killed or used for organ donations, which is being a market which is thriving in Nigeria today. Some of our people might be involved in this organ donation. The 3 of them that died, what circumstances, how did they die? nobody is talking to us, except the witnesses there might be able to tell us if they were poisoned, if they were used for organ donation. We don't know up to today. It hurts me so much when I read everything, and when we get feedbacks and reports from inter-society. Sometimes I find it extremely difficult to understand how we can continue to operate in this sort of country and with this sort of people that treat us with neglect. Again, some blame needs to go back to Nnamdi Kanu and the Ipob, because if this NSAS thing, we stayed away from it, I mean, if Radio Biafra had stayed away from it to a very large extent, I don't think this OPIBO thing would have escalated to this level it did. But because of that involvement and because of that commentary and all the other statements from Radio Biafra, some of these things became a Biafran issue, or rather an Igbo issue or IPOB issue. If it was just left for the Nigerians to deal with their issue, the NSAS project, we were not aware of it. We did not know when the Western people planned it. We did not know when it was executed. We don't know where the money came from. But from nowhere, we got ourselves involved. And any person who is a student of history will know that anything happening with Nigerians, the moment Igbos get involved, it becomes an Igbo issue. We saw that in 1967. We saw that in 1979. We saw that when just something happened in Belgium, somebody criticized Mohammed and the Igbos were killed. So we have always bear the brunt of any criminality or any incident that happens in Nigeria. I would have expected any student of history to have stayed away from it. I think my heart is heavy tonight, Chief Ezeoke. I can't speak any further, but I thank you so much for what you're doing. Comrade Emeka, may God continue to guide and protect all of you and keep you alive. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mazi Obiokoli. You have eloquently put it. I could not disagree in nothing that you have said that I can disagree with. I completely agree with you. Again, I think we can be wiser. I let Marcel pick up from where you stopped. Marcel, over to you.
Okay. I wanted to make this clear. I do not think anybody should be blamed for the actions of Wike and the Nigerian military. Neither Nnamdi Kanu or anybody. Those people should be held strictly accountable for their actions. There are rules of engagements, and if we are in a small global community, people should be held accountable. Abducting hundreds of citizens to a remote location and raping them massively for 4 months, you can't blame anybody out of it. It's an action that was taken by an institution, and that institution will have to be held totally accountable for that action. So let's not mix things up. And then secondly, I needed to quickly confirm from Emeka, the 3 dead people that was confirmed, was their bodies released to their family? That is one question. Their bodies were not released to their family up to now?
No. How can they release their bodies when they excommunicated the living ones from their families? And their families are not aware of their whereabouts up to today.
Okay, my other question is this. I listened to a lady from that zone. I can't remember her name now. She gave an account of what fructed out in Obibo, saying that it was first a disagreement between the House of Fulanis and the Igbos during the NSAS case and all that. No, that story went on. Now I want to ask you, looking at the people that has been released so far, what is the ethnic composition? Does it reflect the 2 regions that was fighting each other, or just one?
I don't think. I think just like I said from the one, what happened at Obibo was ethnic execution of an ethnic agenda and ethnic cleansing and ethnic profiling. I don't think it has nothing to do with and those atrocities were perpetrated by state actors. There are state actors and non-state actors, but in this respect, they were all perpetrated by the state actors. So all the names that have been located so far, they are 98% Igbos and 100% Christians. And again, let me quickly make a point here. I don't want to know, just like you said, Kevin, you made a very valid point. We don't run a jungle here. We run a process. We run a society. We run a society governed by law, by a set of laws. And including the conduct of the Nigerian and conduct of the Nigerian police, so the conduct of SSX, they are all governed by rules of engagement, code of conduct, ethical conduct, and the laws. Therefore, if there in your state, there was a violent clash between Hausas and the Yorubas, Evan didn't fall. So it's normal. So let nobody try to blame it so they say there was a clash misunderstanding between the Hausas and the Igbos. Of course, if there was a clash, the government is there to be able to manage stop the clash and the quench it as it were. And again, I also agree with you. I do not think that I was following with a lawyer the other day. If somebody gives you a brief and you are a lawyer and you are going into that brief, there are certain questions you're supposed to ask before going into that. So you don't have to say, because I've been asked to go and do this, you not jump into doing that without observing the ethical rules guiding your profession and whatever. So if Nnamdi Kanu was on Radio Biafra and they lent support to end such protests, and we're all Nigerians, we're all political animals, we're all part of this country, and there is no way we can run away. For instance, the number of people, the people that were killed at Lake, they are composed of 50% Igbos and 50% Yorubas. The same thing applies to the injured one. So we cannot stay by the fence simple because the Nigerian government is persecuting us. So we must have to understand the composition of the present government and the motive or intent of the present government of Nigeria. It boils down to the proscription of this thing and use of the word IPOB as a death code against to levy war, unwarranted and unjustified war against Igbo population, which somebody observed here has been happening since 1937 or 1935. So it didn't start today. So I do not think that anybody should blame. Incidentally, it's funny enough, the cost of bringing out these people, from the information I gathered, is the same group we are talking about here. That is why sometimes in most of our publications, we try to single out a paragraph of commendation to the role played by the same Nnamdi Kanu and the IPO leadership of IPO in this respect. A lot of things they have done in the area of assistance and what have you. So that is my submission, just to support what you have just said. Thank you.
Okay, finally, this whole issue seems to have been quieting down, as nobody is hearing about. Nobody heard about it in the country. This is my first time of actually hearing the bills that. What do you think happened? What is the? Are you not talking to the media, the AIT, the channels, the punch, all the top, all the? Are you not? What's actually happening?
You know, when you want to do struggle in Nigeria, please are well on what I'm saying. Thank God for him who started this in the media. When he started it, I thought he was joking. But now I see that he is very, very determined. See, my brother, this is a country that is divided heavily or deeply divided along ethno-religious lines. If you want to do human rights activism in Nigeria and you want to defend your people, you want to identify with your people, you must have to be ready to carry a cross. Because there will be backbiting, there will be frustration, there will be isolation, there will be attacks, there will be a lot of gang ups against you because you are not sounding the language that you are supposed to sound for you to be able to have, international linkages, contacts, connections, and what have you. Same thing applies to somebody going into media practice in Nigeria, or somebody engaging in media advocacy or social advocacy using the Nigerian media. So, I mean, the fact we summarize the whole thing into 3 types of violence being faced by Igbos in Nigeria. The cultural violence, that includes the media blacklisting and what have you, by the mainstream media in Nigeria. Then the structural violence, that is exclusion and segregation and what have you. And of course, physical violence, the attacks and killing and the property destructions and things like that. These are the 3 types of violence that have been fundamentally instituted and waged against the people population. So media you are talking about, a lot of water has passed under the bridge in Nigeria within the context of media industries or media practice. I mean, you can't imagine going to AIT. You can't force yourself to AIT except you are invited. You can't force yourself to channels except you are invited, and so on and so on. And a whole lot of interest, vested interest, even in the print media, a whole lot of interest. The immediate past, the chief of army staff was so heavily influential in the print media that whatever thing you write against Nigerian army and what have you, I mean, you count it a date on arrival. But because of the waves we have made, sometimes we manage to get some of these things published in the Nigerian print media like Vanguard, like Guardian, like Sun, and also small ones, and of course the online media like this one, Tochku, is calling, and the others like News Express, Elomba, Voice, and what have you, and things like that. So that has been the situation. But to be frank with you, the Obi thing has been going viral all over the media. But maybe you are looking out to see it broadcast or aired by AIT channels and what have you. What is TVC and what have you. First of all, you ask yourself, who is behind TVC, who is behind AIT, who is behind Channels TV and what have you, and the money involved and a lot of influence and things like that. So you can't just catapult yourself to AIT and start participating in a program, except where you are invited, except where you have the capacity to have your way, to be able to do that. So, but then we are using what we have to get what we want, and then it is paying off. So it has been all over the media, even the Vanguard and what have you have been, this day. I mean, they have been following the stories and so on and so forth. And lately, a lot of people, a couple of them are still coming to speak or to interview us or ask questions about the development of the incident. That is it.
Thank you very much, my brother. And, I can't thank you enough for agreeing to come and speak to us. As you all know, on this platform, we are unconventional. Most times we do not speak on those things that the mainstream media do, as we have always had in private conversation. I mean, I no longer want for us to sit back and blame some people saying we are being blacklisted. If someone is blacklisting us, for Christ's sake, we have the tools. We unblacklist ourselves. Yes. Therefore, that's why we are here. We can decide to have this conversation as long as internet permits. We can decide 3 hours, 4 hours, we pay ourselves. If we go to other platforms, I don't think we can even afford 15 minutes. But here, we can decide as much as we can, and we have to keep pushing out that narrative. I think one of them said here at the beginning, no one can tell our stories better than we do. And in doing that, we tell our story. This is firsthand. On that note, I must, if I take some comments from people watching on the social media handle, especially on YouTube and Facebook, and many of them are asking, how can they help in this legal action? Now, Emeka, I want to push it to you, if that is okay with you for Inter-Society. You know, if people are saying how can they help, when it comes to finance, I don't want to get involved because, you know, that's a very an easier platform to blackmail people in our place. But Inter-Society is an organization that runs a legitimate bank account that engages in legitimate engagement in Nigeria. Therefore, I would say if that sits all right with you as the chair board of director of Inter-Society, would you mind availing those that have been asking on how they can support the work you do in terms of getting we have, I think you said we have 23 women left. 30 just got freed about an hour ago. And we still have about 110 men in detention. So if we put our men together, I think we have about 133 people still in detention. Is that correct?
Yeah, something like that. It used to be 211, then remove 30 from it. 211, yes. Remove 30 from it. It gives you 81.
Okay. So, and that's, you know, obviously there are some legal bills to pay. And incidentally, it appears, but I don't want you to go into details, but it appears from the work you and the lawyers are doing, the state is getting jittery. I saw a photo that was sent to the Njenje Media News desk that, on the attempted murder of one of the lawyers that got these people out. Oh. Do you want to say one or two things about that without too much help?
Yeah, sure. The lawyer was escape assassination. The lawyer escaped assassination because he was given information from the desk of Inter-Society. So he now acted on that information, and that led to discovery of 110 or 109 fresh names, including that one citizen, Ngozi Chibo Elvis. And the lawyer used his tentacles to locate the particular location of the military, the army base. So he went to the army base to confirm the captivity of the 110 persons. They got there and confirmed it. It was on his way back to Abuja from that particular army base between Suleja and Bida. That not more than 20 minutes drive from the base, from the army commando base. It was double cross, and that was how he narrowly escaped being assassinated. So that one is a fact on the ground. And quickly about the issue of help. Yes, Jochukwu, I agree with you. When it comes to issue of money, we know that it is one of the major challenges, major negative, this thing, I don't know how to put it, with which the Igbo people are knowing today. You know, it is a general belief that Igbo people can't do something for themselves or for the society without asking for cash support or without asking to be paid. And I agree with you in that respect. And the people like us at Inter-Society are very, very mindful of who wants to support or who will go and ask for support. But like this old people of 18, yes, we are. It is also important for us to clarify that we are part of it, but we are not. There is inside it we have subdivision of labor. There is aspect that has to do with lawyers handling the matter, and in times of litigation, in times of legal process. Let me use the word legal processes. So Inter-Society is not deeply involved in times of legal processes. A lawyer and his colleagues are handling that, and they are in touch with some of our brothers, like I mentioned a while ago. But generally speaking, that incident is a project. It's a bigger project. It's a project that involves a lot of things. The documentation, the research, the investigation, the that are basing the sharing of information and so on and so forth, the archiving and the transportation cost and what have you, and so on and so forth. So that makes it a project, a general project. And if anybody wishes to support Inter-Society, fine and good. It is a project, like I said, but we are not insisting that we must be paid or money must be given to us for us to be able to do it. Because we have been doing it since December, since November, since December till now. If we calculate the monetary worth of what we have done in a market, in open market, it runs into millions of naira. But we are not spending that, even though we need money to do that. We are getting the result. We are doing it according to our own destiny, while the lawyers and his police are also doing their own part on that aspect. So that is the situation report. So I believe that what I can only say is that Inter-Society is not only working on OBIBO abductions. Inter-Society is also working on general reports and documentation on OBIBO massacre.
May I save you? May I save you from the?
No, this explanation is very important in support of what
I do
say.
Yes, yeah. I do understand that.
But I'm done. Yeah.
If people are requesting for, if they want to support Inter-Society, all that is needed is how to tell them to do that. Obviously not cash. It has to be an account that is linked to Inter-Society. Are you able to avail them the account number, so they can?
There is no problem, but that is why we are making this clarification. So that if you are supporting Inter-Society, you now know that you are supporting the work of Inter-Society, which includes what is going on in OBIBO and others, like the other day we spoke, and beyond. And the other day we spoke on Olo. I think we already told you. We spoke on Olo version, and so many other issues like that. So the work of Inter-Society is worth supporting. I don't want us to particularize it to OBIBO. It's larger. Our work is larger than that of OBIBO. What is going on in OBIBO. And above all, we are doing that which we are supposed to do for our people. Pricelessly. That is it.
Okay. So what is going to happen now, in order that we pin it down, can you please then mention your account, the Inter-Society account?
I think what I will do is, I think what the best way to do it is so that we go to another level is that I don't want us to waste much time on this issue. What we need to do is that if there are people who willingly want to support us, you are the anchor person. So if you direct them, so we can give you the account.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I think on that note, we no longer have.
But it's also worthy of mention that Mazi Obiokori has spoke that we are worthy of mention that the Igbo Board of Deputies UK did tremendously recently for Inter-Society. So we will continue to appreciate them and others like that. So that's the thing. So there's no harm in supporting us. Once it is genuine, no problem.
Why can't you tell us the number we can reach, mobile number or anything? How can we reach Inter-Society?
Oh, no, the number is there. If you want to put it down.
No, you can say it. Probably it sounds better in your mouth.
Okay. 081. The phone number be?
Yes, 081.
740.
740.
900.
900.
52.
52. Repeat that again.
081.
Yes.
740.
Yeah.
90052. It is also our WhatsApp number.
Okay, so again, for many of you who want to reach Inter-Society,
they can also visit our website. They can also visit our website for them and see things for themselves. Our website www.intersociety-ng.com. That's our website.
So you've heard that the website is Inter-Society, and the telephone number both WhatsApp and normal call 081740900052. On that note, I will say, Emeka, thank you very much for the last an hour, 45 minutes. It has been a pleasure speaking with you to understand what is happening in Obibo. Now, before we go, I would quickly say, what's your view and what do you think happened in Olu?
Well, what happened in Olu was the same, have a semblance of Obibo, many army attacks. But the quantum or the gravity of that of Olu is not yet, it cannot be, it's not yet commensurate or comparable with what happened. But then the intent is there to by the army to, if unchecked, to to make it look worse than what happened at Obibo. So the military, the army said that some people attacked his personnel and the other personnel of Nigerian security forces, and it moved in. The army moved in, and the problem we have with the security forces of Nigeria is the problem of unprofessionalism and the crude policing and soldiering. That is the problem we have. If you are aiming at a target, you say some people attacked you, attack your personnel. Your intelligence, through interagency collaborations, you'll be able to raise enough intelligence and through effective crime detection, you'll be able to move in and fish out those people who you said that perpetrated one act or the other. Not to the point of unleashing their venom or this thing on innocent people. So the summary of what happened in Olu is that where we got angered was when we investigated and discovered that the soldiers left who they say they are looking for and started looking for Christian leaders in Olu, special members of the African instituted churches and the other innocent souls. And in the end, they arrested over 20-something, if not 33 Christian leaders, including pastors and clerics, and some mentally challenged persons and other innocent citizens, and got them paraded as, in quote, the IPOB, so ESN terrorists or operatives that are involved in murdering of soldiers in Olu. And we investigated and found out that what they said is not correct. And we issued a statement telling the whole world that look at the caliber of people they went and arrested. That's exactly what happened. If you are conducting your operation, do it professionally. Use all the ingredients of securitization, intelligence, criminal detection, and things like that to be able to apprehend the people you said they are looking for. Not to use the opportunity to execute an ethnic agenda, and that is our lawyer. And more quickly, when we also conducted an investigation and found out that, look, the allegation of execution of ethnic agenda is real. The 63 Brigade in Asaba is headed by an Hausa Fulani Muslim. 302 Regiment in Onitsha, Atra Regiment in Onitsha, the same Hausa Fulani Muslim. 34 Brigade at Owerri, the same Hausa Fulani Muslim. 14 Brigade at Ohafia in Abia State, the same Hausa Fulani Muslim. Haba, are we no longer talking of Nigerian army or something else? So that is where the much we can say about Olu, and we are still monitoring the goings on there and what have you. Not only in Olu, I think it involves about 7 local government areas: Njaba, Olu, Olu East, and the whatever local government, and as well as about 5 or 6 Nnewi South and the Iyalo local government part of Anambra. So that is the situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a very fine place to leave it. Emeka, once more, thank you for coming on this program this evening. I can't thank you enough. It's been a pleasure speaking with you for the last couple of for over an hour, 45 minutes. And you've greatly enriched our knowledge and thrown some insight into what is happening. Because obviously, when these things were happening, many people were confused as to, life lost and people taken. But now, these are no longer mere numbers. These are numbers with names, with faces, and many of them that have been rescued. You've spoken to them, and documentation is taken. So these are verifiable individuals. On that note, I would say those watching on all our social media handles, both Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, thank you for joining us this evening. And I will tell us, join us tomorrow, 7 o'clock Nigerian time, 6 o'clock p.m. UK time. We will be having a very fantastic conversation with Mr. Tony Nnadi and Professor Banji Akintoye, who is the leader of the Yoruba World Congress. We will be discussing tomorrow Nigerian Union dispute debates and dialogue sessions, the impact and the significance of the constitutional force majeure. Now, Tony has been in the forefront of saying that the Nigerian Federation has expired since 2014. He also went further to argue that the component units of the Federation should actually start operating in order to have a total collapse of the system. Now, that is the much I understand about his argument, but join us tomorrow, and it's going to be a very interesting time, to have him discuss with the professor, who incidentally agrees with that thinking, that Nigeria is an expired entity, that there are other means to bury the cat. On that note, I will say thank you once more for being our guest this evening. Tomorrow is another day. Join us same time tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. And I will say thank you once more for being our guest this evening. Tomorrow is another day. Join us same time.
This is our freedom time, and we are going to call it our birthright. And now I can't start us. The Friday promises, anywhere we go, that's what the best is on the followers. Anywhere we go, that's what the best is on the followers. We are right here, say that from the corner. We are the best, we are the best now. We are the best, we are good to freedom time. Every day we are to God. It's our freedom time. That's how we keep on moving forward. I feel on me, I just see the sun is shining, shining on Biafra. We are the best. I give thanks to God for the blessings of us. This is our freedom time, and we are going to call it our birthright. And now I can't stop us. the promises. Anywhere we go, that's what the blessings of the Lord they follow us. Anywhere we go, that's what the blessings of the Lord they follow us. Go on, we are right here. Say that from the corner. We are the best. We are the best. We are the best. We are good to freedom time. Every day we are